Welcome back to Deadly Clues, your ultimate source of most chilling, unsolved, and heartbreaking true crime stories. If you are new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our growing family of true crime enthusiasts. Tonight's case is one that left an indelible mark on the nation's heart and low. It's the story of Jessica Lunsford, a young girl whose abduction and murder would change how America viewed child safety forever. This is a tale of shock, heartbreak, and justice. And it's also a story about what can happen when predators are allowed to slip through the cracks, hiding in plain sight. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you will understand just how deeply Jessica's life and death changed the course of history. Are you ready? Let's uncover the deadly clues. Jessica Lunsford was a 9-year-old girl from Homosassa, Florida, a town that at the time seemed idyllic as they come. With a population of just over 10,000, it was just kind of place where neighbors knew each other's name, kids ran free, and parents didn't worry too much about locking their doors at night. Jessica was known for her infectious smile, boundless energy, and love for singing. She was a little girl with big dreams, a life ahead of her, filled with school plays, slumber parties, and simple joys of childhood. Her family, especially her father, Mark Lunsford, adored her. Jessica's father had been through a tough time. His wife has passed away years earlier, and he raised Jessica with the help of his parents. Despite their struggles, they were close-knit, loving family. But this peaceful scene would soon come to screeching halt. What happened to Jessica was tragically that no one saw coming, and it's a nightmare that haunts every parent. On the evening of February 23, 2005, Jessica went to bed just like any other night. She kissed her father goodnight, tucked her into a bed, and fell asleep in the safety of her room. But something was wrong with that night. Something sinister was lurking nearby, just waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Mark Lunsford woke up the next morning to find her daughter empty bed. Her blanket was still warm, but she was nowhere to be found. The window in her room was slightly open and the door to the house was unlocked. At first, he thought Jessica had just wandered off and gotten up to use the bathroom, but as minutes passed, panic set in. Jessica wasn't in the house, and neither Mark nor his parent heard anything during the night that would have warned them an intruder. No sound of footsteps, no cries for help, nothing, just silence. As the day wore on and Jessica's disappearance became all too real, the small town of Homosassa rallied together. Police officers, neighbors, and volunteers began to search every inch of the area. But despite their effort, nothing turned up. The search expanded. Helicopters, dogs, and even volunteers from neighboring towns arrived to help. For weeks, the Lunsford family clung to hope. But every hope that passed without a trace of Jessica made them fear the most. The whole world watched as law enforcement worked tirelessly to uncover what had happened. But what? No one knew that Jessica's fate had already been sealed. She had been taken, and she was closer to home than anyone could imagine. In the days following Jessica's disappearance, police followed every lead, looking for any clues that could point them toward the person responsible. What they didn't know was the predator was living just feet away from Jessica's house. John Couey, a 46-year-old man with a history of sexual offenses against children, had been living in the nearly mobile home just yards away from Jessica's house. Despite being a convicted sex offender, Couey has slipped through the cracks. He wasn't being monitored as closely as should have been, and his neighbor had no idea about his dark past. John Couey had been convicted of sexual offenses before. In fact, he was registered as a sex offender, but he had not been living under close supervision. His history was troubling, yet in the eyes of the law, he was just another man with a record. blending into the background. Little did anyone know Couey was about to unleash nightmare that would forever change the landscape of child protection laws in United States. On the night of Jessica's disappearance, John Couey entered the Lunsford home. The door was unlocked and Jessica's room was right near the front. Couey, a predator who hunt, slipped into the house unnoticed, grabbed Jessica from her bed and carried her out. Jessica had no chance to scream. No one heard a thing. Couey took Jessica to his trailer, where he held her captive for next 3 days. The horror that Jessica must have experienced in those finest days of her life is unfathomable. During this time, Couey tortured her, and there were no signs that anyone outside of that trailer knew what was going on. He was just a man living nearby, and the community didn't realize the threat he posed. But even worse, Jessica's abduction wasn't just a moment of terror, it would become a deadly trap. On the third day, John Couey decided to kill Jessica after subjecting her to unimaginable horrors. He wrapped her in a garbage bag and buried her alive just feet away from his trailer. It was an act so cruel, so monstrous, and it sent shockwaves through the country. Jessica's body was discovered a few weeks later after police found a disturbing connection to Couey. DNA evidence linked him directly to the crime, and his confession, true later contested, led authorities straight to his door. But it wasn't just the way Jessica died that shocked the world. It was knowledge that her killer had been living so close to her and that no one had known. After weeks of searching and piecing together the evidence, John Couey was arrested. The investigation was tough and the details were grim. Jessica's father and family members had to endure the horrifying reality of what had happened to their beloved daughter. In the aftermath, the nation's attention turned to law, or rather, the gaps in the laws. How had Couey been allowed to live close to a child unmonitored? How had been able to commit such a heinous crime without a committee being aware? The case sparked nation outrage and led to a wave of changes in law designed to protect children from sex offenders. Jessica's story is a painful reminder of how vulnerable children can be, even in seemingly safe places. But Jessica's tragic death led to one significant change: the creation of Jessica's Law. Jessica's Law imposes harsher penalties on sex offenders, including life sentence for those convicted of crime against children. It also requires lifetime electronic monitoring of convicted offenders and had led to stricter regulation for sex offender registries. Jessica's name had been synonymous with child protection. Her case inspired a nationwide movement, and it is because of her that thousands of children are safer today. Her legacy lives on through the law that bear her name. Thank you for joining me tonight. We uncover the tragic yet powerful story of Jessica Lunsford. Her life, tough cut short, had made lasting impact on life of countless children. Her story is a reminder that we must stay vigilant, we must protect the innocent, and we must never forget the importance of justice. If you found this story as powerful and heartbreaking as I did, please give it a like, comment and share with others who should know Jessica's story. And if you haven't yet, make sure hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more cases where we dig deep into clues and mysteries behind them. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.